So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you how to set up um, borders, margin, and padding if you need a quick review here. So let's just say I have a H1 and you can add a border to anything. Hello world. Alright. And I am going to give this a class here. Now, if I say class equals and I always like to give my H1s and P tags classes just in case I want to uniquely identify them and play around with those. So I'll just say we'll just say name or whatever. All right, that's cool. So now in my style sheet, I'm gonna do dot name because remember, a period comes before a class, a period before a class, and a hashtag before an ID. So to make a border, remember it's just simply a border. Alright? And then there's three parts. This is the shorthanded version. So the first thing is how thick you want the line to be. So in my case, I'm going to say 3 pixels. Alright? So 3 pixels is literally what I want. And then I'll say solid because that's the type of line. You got solid, you've got dotted, you got groove. There's so many. Feel free to look those up if you want to mess around with borders. And then a color. So I'll say black. Alright, so it's border, how thick the line, what type of line, and then the color of the line. So if I hit save, I should have a border on my H1 here. Alright, now you'll see that it extends the whole width of the browser, well, at least the container here, the wrapper. So if you want to change that, simply the thing you can do is simply just give it a width. If I say width and I say 400 pixels, right? Now my border is going to be 400 pixels. So it shortens it up. Alright. Now remember, we can also play around with margin. And you have a bunch of different margins. Alright. So let's say I want to move this. Like I want to move it in the I just want to move the whole thing, the border included. Remember, you can say margin. And you can see that these are our top 4. You got margin top. So remember, that's moving it from the top, meaning that it's moving down. You have margin bottom. So that is moving it from the bottom, meaning it's going up. You have margin left. That means it's moving from the left, meaning it's going to the right. And then you have margin right, which means that it's moving from the right, meaning that it's going to the left. So let's move it to the right. So in order to do that, that would be margin left because it's moving from the left. And then I can say, let's just do something so we can see 40 pixels, and I'll hit save. You'll see. Let's make it a little bit more drastic. Let's say 400, just so we can see this a little bit better. Okay, there we go. So now it moved 400 pixels to the right. Now padding, on the other hand, is different. Remember, padding will move an element within its border. So hello world is going to move, but the border will not. And it follows those same rules like we did with margin top, margin left, margin bottom, and margin right. Well, we can say padding left, padding right, padding top, or padding bottom. So in our case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to move it inside the border to the right, which means I'm saying padding left. And then I can say, alright, move 50 pixels inside the border. And I'll go live, and you'll see that it indented almost. So just think of this as indentation. Alright, it's moving an element within the actual border. And it's as simple as that. So feel free to add this and use this to your projects.